Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Locked On Lakers for a Sunday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers get the doors blown off by Denver in the second half. A total collapse. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on Sundays. No matter how or where you get your podcasts, this one's always free, never behind a paywall. Locked On Lakers, nobody should have to pay for a podcast after what happened to Lakers in the second half on Sunday. Locked On Lakers on Saturday. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with over 26,000 disgusted subscribers to the channel. Not because they're disgusted with the channel, Andy. They're disgusted by what happened to the Lakers in the second half on Sunday, where you look at it and say they were outscored by 9 in the fourth quarter, the Lakers were, which is a decided improvement over the third quarter where they were outscored by 22 points. Do you know how hard it is to be outscored by 22 points in one quarter? I'll answer that for you. Very hard. But the Lakers managed to do it on Saturday.
Actually, the Lakers made it look pretty damn easy. I'm going to be honest. It did not look like nearly the challenge that it should have been. To put this in perspective, they outscored 37-15. Denver in the third quarter shot 68%. The Lakers 25%. Denver went 5 of 9 from behind the arc. The Lakers 2 of 8. Denver out rebounded them 14-7. Out assisted them 11
well,
to
in
3.
fairness, they did never miss. So it was hard for the Lakers to get a rebound.
And the Lakers out turnovered Denver something like 4,680 to like 1.
Yeah. The level of sloppiness in the third quarter was just astounding. And this, keep in mind, the Lakers went into the half, I should say, with a 6-point lead. They led by as much as 10, pretty close to halftime. And it's just like there's a lot to unpack in what happened in this game, including JJ Redick inventing what I think is an entirely new genre of disgusted coach post-game interviews by adding what seemed like, I don't know, some sort of hard candy. I mean, he was sucking on something.
It was like listening. It was like listening to your grandmother break down a Lakers loss.
With like a Werther's original in her mouth or something.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, Granny was really unhappy with that third.
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like they were like the disgust with like that rattling around of whatever it was he was sucking on made him sound that much angrier. It was really tremendous.
It's as if he was trying to keep his mouth occupied in ways that would prevent him from saying everything that he wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you know how, the expression bite the bullet, like you're like biting down on something in order to avoid expressing or feeling full pain. That's like what JJ Redick was doing with Granny's hard candy.
Yeah. It didn't totally keep him from saying stuff, though. He was clearly disgusted by the effort in the third quarter. So they obviously lacked competitive spirit or whatever. Yeah, and he was obviously disgusted by it. I did mention they were outscored by 22, and so it's easy to understand why he would be. So many of these games, when the Lakers play the Nuggets, are kind of the measuring this first place to start, and you're trying to figure out like what kind of game this was, because the Nuggets have obviously owned the Lakers over time, but some of these games are a lot closer than others. It starts with Anthony Davis.
They've lost 2 playoff series in a row to Denver by less than a combined 50 points.
Yeah.
To
over the course of all of the games, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. By a combined fewer than 50 points, 2 playoff series. Yes, it's 8-1 Denver, and that matters a lot, but they have been actually pretty competitive. This game, however, not so much once that second half began. Denver got out on, I want to say, an 8 or 10-0 run in the first 3 minutes of this game. It went awry fast for the Lakers.
It did. And, but these games are often kind of the first place you check is that battle between Jokic and Anthony Davis. And often, in the playoffs last year, AD really, held his own and sometimes I think outplayed Jokic. Certainly, though, held his own, made it possible for the Lakers to at least be in a position to try to win some games. Obviously, only won the one. He was thoroughly outplayed by Jokic on Saturday. Thoroughly in basically every facet. I don't want to say in every facet because maybe there's one that I didn't think of, but in all the ones that seem to count and matter, Jokic was way better, just light years better than AD was on Saturday. And the Lakers are never going to beat the Nuggets if AD plays that far behind Jokic. It's just not going to happen.
Anthony Davis was 6 of 19 from the field, just 2 out of 3 at the line. The 3 in and of itself.
The 3 is the problem, yeah.
Like the 3 in and of itself, in a lot of ways, I think is a microcosm of just AD not performing like Anthony Davis in this game. 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, but 14 points on 6 of 19 from the field, a team leading minus 26. Like, you mentioned before, you're not going to win games against Denver with AD like this, but frankly, you're not going to win many games for the Lakers, period, when Anthony Davis is like this. Robert Horry, after the game for Spectrum Sportsnet, their post-game coverage, talked about, and I completely agree, this was a game where it felt like Anthony Davis was getting into a lot of like a finesse feel. And he the way he described it was AD going away from the basket as opposed to going towards it.
That kind of stuff.
As opposed to going towards it, in a lot of ways, going towards Jokic. And Horry said, look, there were a few times where AD got fouled, but if you are going away from the basket, that is rarely going to happen. And that to me reflects what Redick was talking about in terms of that overall spirit to compete not being there. It didn't feel like AD, to be totally honest, in this game tonight was up for that battle with Nikola Jokic. Just didn't.
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, he was hardly the only thing. I should mention, to the final score. I don't think we actually said that. 127-102 was the final there. And the Lakers were up again as much by as up by as much as 10 in this game. And, just AD was bad. LeBron turned the ball over 6 times in this game and has been a little turnover prone of late. That if you're going to look for flaws in the way LeBron is playing, the turnovers have certainly gone up a little bit. But 18 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 of 17 from the floor. The Lakers, I don't know, pick a number. It doesn't really matter. They only got to the line 14 times. That is not something that's going to be sustainable for them, particularly on a night where they're not outdoing the opposition from 3-point range. And they, in 4 more attempts, had 3 fewer 3-pointers than Denver. Denver was 50% from 3-point range. Andy, they were 61% overall from the floor. I kept saying to myself, man, if the Lakers could just get the Nuggets under 60% from the field, I feel like they could really go on a run. They never did. Denver, the defensive collapse here is pretty stunning. Statistically speaking, outside of Austin Reeves, I guess, Rui in his first game back shot the ball pretty well, but they're just the impact for the Lakers wasn't there from anyone. The starters, you mentioned AD a minus 26, but Rui was a minus 13 in 22 minutes. LeBron was minus 25 in 35 minutes. Cam minus 23 in 20 minutes. Reeves minus 22. You look at the Nuggets, their starters went plus 28, plus 30, plus 39. That's Jokic in his 37 minutes. Gives you an idea of just how much they rely on him. Plus 39 in 37 minutes in a game that you win by 25. Murray was plus 20, and Christian Brown was a plus 13 in 31 minutes. It's like their starters were just thoroughly beat down Lakers starters.
This was a game that the second half did in this team on such a collective basis and level that I would go so far as to say I don't think anybody on the team had a good game. Like there were
No,
a
I
few
agree with you.
guys.
I'm just saying that's why I prefaced it with statistically.
Right, but I mean just up and down the roster. Like I thought Austin Reeves played well in the first half, but the second half I think he fell into the same malaise as everybody. I thought, Reddish had moments in the first half, but doing what is expected of him. But in the second half was such a team-wide disastrous collapse that I think the end result is a game where I would honestly say top to bottom, I don't think anybody had a good game. Like there was no bright spot standout or bright spot you could point to from this game in any individual performance. I don't think anybody played well.
And we can, obviously, our weekend shows are shorter. I don't want to get too deep into this, but we talked about it ahead of Thursday's game against the Magic. Like this was a 5-game stretch of kind of prove it basketball for a team that was at that point 10-4, and going into a 10-4 with a lot of people going not so sure. Who have they played? Point differential is not great. Like there are some signs of vulnerability. 2 games into this 5-game stretch, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this a lot for Monday's show. They are 0-2, including a really bad stretch of play down the stretch against Orlando, losing that game at the buzzer, and just this total collapse in the second half. It's not a good start for this thing. I got to turn around. If you not just for them to, for people like us to be like, oh, look, they're legit. I think, internally, you got to keep playing well against good teams to really believe in yourself.
Well, this is going to be perhaps the second, I guess, flashpoint moment, for lack of a better way of putting it, for JJ Redick in terms of, okay, the mood and the vibes after strong periods could be shifting. And you have a couple days in between to make adjustments, to think about certain things that could be fixed, tweaked, whatever. How do you respond to? Because like we said, like this was a game where JJ Redick afterwards was shoving his mouth filled with hard candy to deal with what is going on in his mind and in his heart and his emotions, all of that. Like, and he even said too, like Redick was asked, I don't remember the exact question about the defense, but he said, like, we as a coaching staff need to take accountability as well. Like it's not just on the players. So it sounds like this is a little bit of a come to Jesus moment for the players and for Redick. And they've got a couple days to look under the hood and see if they can figure out exactly what is up before these next 3 games. That, look, at the end of the day, they win the next 3 and finish this stretch that we had talked about, 3-2. That's fine. Like at the end of the day,
you take 2 or 3 the next one, and you're 2-3 with the understanding that you've won 2 of your last 3.
Right?
You got to play better ball.
Sure, if they are playing better and they win at least 2 of the next 3 or the next 3, then you'll say, all right, this is just the ebbs and flows of a season, even for very good teams. But it is also a moment that you want to try to stave off, because this type of energy matters over the course of a season and it shapes how your season plays out. So we'll see where everything goes from here.
Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with over 26,000 subscribers to the channel. We, of course, will be back on Monday, but not before we tell you about this.
Well, that Locked On Lakers is brought to you by BetterHelp, and this is a month about gratitude, obviously, Thanksgiving. And while you are thinking about all the people in your life that you are grateful towards and want to thank, you should also think about another person that you probably don't ever thank enough, and that's yourself. And sometimes it can be hard to remind ourselves that we are trying our best to make sense of things in a very crazy, turbulent, often difficult to understand world. It's not easy. And you should send some thanks to yourself and do things for yourself, like, if needed, therapy. I can personally speak to how therapy helped me and my family during a really difficult period, just learning the best ways to communicate, make compromises without feeling unsatisfied, unheard. That way you can equip the people in your life with the best version of yourself, which makes you and everyone around you feel better about you. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba.
Locked On Lakers also brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you just get that little hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page that you place your bets. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We'll see everyone Monday.